Morris, you're watching Boasting Down Bushcraft, and I found a school chair. How bizarre. There was two of them actually, the other one was half buried. I'll fetch that another time because I can use these. Today's video is going to be a bit different in the sense of usually me, when I make videos, I come out here with a specific purpose, a specific thing I want to do, want to show you. Today's is going to be a little bit different than that on account of I don't actually have a specific thing to show you. What I have is a desire to improve and try and preserve this little spot of mine. So stay with me whilst I waffle a bit here. So pretty much the entirety of this year, except for a few times where I've either done a video in the garage or I've been to where I work and stuff like that, mostly I have been here, and this is a spot that I've been using for a very long time now. Even before I started making YouTubes, I was using this spot. It is a wonderful spot, as in it's tucked away off the main, the woods here is massive. This is tucked off the main track. It's hard to see from the main track. If you walk down that way, it actually goes down to a big clearing, and there's a stream down there. You can't see it very clearly through this camera right now, but there's a stream down there. You get the deer running around down there, and there's a field over there. Obviously it's a farm field, and we get the deer and all sorts hopping about in there, which is lovely. But there's water access down there. As you can see, there are trees for days and days and days. There's only that trail there really that leads into it. And we have this whole area here that sort of made its own natural shape out of trees that have fallen. It's made a natural little triangle, which I think is ideal for a sort of a base camp. Now, I have avoided making base camps and building things for a heck of a long time now, and that's because, as other bushcrafters will tell you, when you do, people tend to find them, they tend to mess with them. This used to be, a few years ago, this was quite a popular little spot. You'd get teenagers camping here and I'd be forever finding tents, cleaning up mess and tidying up other people's nonsense. But for at least the past year, possibly 2 years now, I've seen no evidence of people coming here to this bit. It's kind of been forgotten. The trails have grown back over, which is good. So today what I want to do is tidy up that area over there a bit, make it usable for myself, maybe move my Da Vinci bench over there. That might not happen today because it's a bit of a faff and I've got a lot of stuff I want to do, as in covering trails. I'm going to make a new way in that follows the fence line over there so it's harder to see, because obviously when people are walking about, dog walking, when the weather gets nice next year, anyone sees a trail, they tend to follow it, they want to know what's going on down there. So I want to stray away from the main trail. Okay, which, to be honest, that must have been me last time, but it does look like there's boot marks there. But there's no evidence of anybody being in here at all. Everything's exactly where I left it. So I want to try and turn that into my area, so I can build there, basically, so I can start building things there. Which basically means I've got a lot of tidying up to do. There's a lot of hollies and plants and things there that I don't want in there. What I'm hoping to do with them is get them out of the ground and transplant them on the trails to cover it up, and transplant them around the outskirts of this so that they grow in and provide more cover. Especially there's a young oak there, I'm hoping I can transplant that. I've done this before. They do usually take, particularly with oaks that are really quite hardy. Unfortunately, some of them that I transplant aren't going to make it. That is just the nature of the beast. But that's what I'm hoping to do. That's not all going to happen today. There's going to be a couple of times that I'm going to have to, well, more than a couple of times, that I'm going to have to come and keep doing this sort of stuff to try and make it more secluded and harder to see, harder to find. I will be incorporating me cheeky little school chair that I've found into it as well at some point. But we all, as bushcrafters, want a private spot, don't we? And until I can buy a woodland, I'm just going to have to try and make this as secretive as I possibly can, even though I don't actually own these woods. Because, as other people will tell you, as we've seen on many of Stick's Outdoors videos, when people have interfered with this spot, it's upsetting that they can't just enjoy it and leave it alone. Nobody cares if you find something a bushcrafter has built. You sit there, have your fire, do whatever you need to do, and then leave it in peace. Leave it without destroying it. And, you know, we wouldn't. Tell you what though, folks, congratulations if you stayed with me through that. That was probably one of the longest bouts of waffle I think I've ever done for a video introduction. Thought I'd film a cheeky bit of axe work just for our friend over at Life's a Hobby. I know he loves a bit of bosun down axe swingery. I know he's missed Freya. I have to say actually, it's been quite a while since I've done any specific fire related axe work. The last few times I've been out, I haven't actually been chopping up massive piles of firewood and bringing down big dead trees because I've only been cooking. I haven't really needed to, so I've just been going off bits I can find, and you know, it works for what I need. Combat shovels. So many uses. Okie dokie. So whilst the fire gets burning, and naturally the smoke's all coming to me because that's what fires do. Whilst the fire gets burning, I would kind of like to use these fallen logs to make a bit more of a wall over here. Build it up a bit and not let the undergrowth grow over it. No, keep it a little more covered. Some big old bits of tree here. The problem is, they are very big, rather heavy. This one actually is going underneath there, so, hey, nice big rock. Weirdly, we don't get too many rocks in here. So what I need to do first of all is separate half of that off, because I'm never going to be able to move it while it's got all that on it. So, run through it here. Oh, that's rotten as hell. I'll go through nice and easy. Lovely. There's still a big old lump of log. Right. This is a big old boy. How on earth am I going to move this little devil? I say little, it's rather big. This is where a couple of bushcraft buddies would come in very useful. Trouble is, it's very rotten as well. See, I need that end up there really. I don't suppose it matters which end. That is heavy. Yeah, even to me that is very, very, very heavy. Oh dear, the fire doesn't look great. I better go and do something with that first. I wonder, actually, I've got an idea. Yes, a towel. That works. Now, how to get it on there. More importantly, once I get it on there, how to get my towel back. Okay, that's the half end off. Now to try and Where's that? Where's Freya? Very big spiky job. We're going to have to grow back next year. Kind of in my way. How to get now to lift it. Yeah, that's what I didn't want to happen. I might have to stake that before I do it. Right, so that's on. Now what I need is a couple of good solid stakes to hammer in and make sure it stays there. So I'm going to go sort that out. Just a couple of nice green wood stakes to lock it in place. Now, I appreciate this is going to be kind of a slow video. It's going to be kind of a slow project because really there's a lot of work to do to achieve what I want to achieve here. Now I think over time it is going to be worth it. So don't worry though folks, I know that this is perhaps not the most interesting of videos, but I will be doing other videos alongside it. I'm not just going to be putting up me building this constantly for the next 6 months. It's not going to go on. Good. That'll be strong enough because I'm going to put another one on the inside, lash them together with some bank line. Right, so let's squish the camera. Where is Sticks outdoors when you need him? He loves a bit of building in the woods. These stakes in, and then really I'll better get the chicken cooking, because chicken obviously takes a little while. Now, the idea really, these stakes don't need to be in all that deep. They just need to stop it from sliding about at the bottom, because I'm going to bank line it all together in a minute. And that will give it a hell of a lot of strength. But before I get around to that, better get the chicken cooking. Can't be eating half-cooked chicken. But already you can see we've got a little bit of a wall. This is what I meant, because obviously the undergrowth's going to grow over that. Now, being winter, is the best time to do this. There's no one around snooping on what you're doing project-wise. And as soon as spring comes along, all of this vegetation is going to grow up over that, and it'll just hide it more, basically. Like I say, we're limited really on how much we're going to realistically get done today, but I want the stuff to grow over that, because I can't just keep walling up, because that would obviously look dead suspicious. To be like, what are the chances that 7 trees have stacked themselves up in the woods? Not. But you can only see 1 or 2 from over there. That won't look so obvious. And once we've got a few things planted around it, a couple of these little hollies, they can grow on the other side of that, and that'll really start hiding it. I've picked a tricky one in a sense, because it's an awful big area here that I need to secure, which is why buildings themselves, shelter buildings, they're going to be the last things, because they're the things that are going to be seen. So for the moment with this, it's basically just about making it all look as natural as possible. But on that note, I'm naturally hungry, so let's go and get the chicken cooking. Yes, as is traditional. Can't not have the old mix of Woodland Wonder. Throw a few more sticks on this fire. Lovely. Repurpose the old bush grill. Gosh, those are thick burgers. Well, wouldn't be a Bosun Dan video, would it, if I was not cooking in the woods? This is actually the way that I'm shooting this. It's going to be quite a rough video when I put it together. There'll be no pomp and fair and flair here. This is going to be quite a raggy one, but that's the whole point of getting buildings, well, buildings, you know what I mean, building in the woods. So, but that's all right from here. If you look at it from over here, you can see once stuff's grown over it a bit, that will provide a bit of good cover. Right then, whilst lunch cooks, let's go and bank line this bagger together a bit, give it a bit more strength. Obviously you see my kids come out here with me, I don't want this falling on them. Don't really want it falling on anybody if we can avoid that. I don't want to crush people with logs. That's an awful way to go. Can you imagine stuck in the woods under a log? That'd suck. So we'll secure it, make sure we're not going to squish anyone. And the good thing about this bank line, aside from what I've said before about it being stretchy so you can get it really tight. It's also quite difficult to see from a certain distance away. It blends in. Obviously if I'd used big shiny paracord or some blue polypropylene rope, it'd stick out like a sore thumb. And the whole idea of this is a bit of disguise. Lovely, that's going nowhere. Wow. Wow. Stuck the axe in that log. A great big jet of liquidy resin's just shot out. Nice. Right, I'm going. So this back corner here is ready made for just some good old bits of rockwood to throw in, make it just look a bit more natural. See, that is all nice and already naturally covered in moss. That adds some excellent camo to it. Another rotten piece on top of that bit there, and then we'll tie them. I'll use that in a minute. Let's tie this first actually, and then we know we're good. Nothing fancy knot-wise, there's no point. Because I don't need to take this down, I don't need to move it. Today I might only get this one wall in my lunch. Again, mossy side to the outside. There we go, it's good enough for me. Now, really, that's high enough really, because it's not really about hiding it when I'm in here. It's more covering it when I'm not, so it can't be easily seen. But over here, all we need to do is, oh no, I've lost a burger. I've lost a burger. Look. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, that's donated to the woods. Check the checking while we do. You can see I'm only burning rubbish wood as well. It's all rotten and stuff. But the thing is, and I've touched on fire lighting many times, you only really need the dry wood to light the fire. Once it's burning and it's hot enough, you can chuck anything on there and it'll burn it. So, next problem is, I say problem, this is tricky. Next issue, so you can see where my little wall is. Now, there, that's really low and wants covering up. So I'm going to go and make a couple more stakes, because I'm going to need them. And then crack on with doing something up that back bit there. Hopefully next year, as soon as the weather changes, so much of this stuff will grow in so big, because you can see we've got some good holly cover there. I'm not going to mess with that. There's no point, that's already there. But what we do have is a pile of holly over there, Luke. And in amongst that holly over there, there is loads of young hollies that I reckon I can just gently pull out the ground and transplant around my wall, and then by next year they'll have grown up and given it much more cover. At least that's me thinking. We'll see how that goes. I'm just having fun playing with sticks in the woodland today. I must say, I'm really enjoying. So, an issue that I do have is there's rather an obvious trail here that you can see quite clearly, and for some reason all year this has been invisible and grown over. At the moment it looks like it's had badgers running all down it, so it has become rather more obvious. But there are loads of young hollies that I can transplant in the way and generally chuck some brush all over it and make it look less like a trail. But I need to start further up. There's no point putting obstacles where you can see clearly what's happening here, because people will just move the obstacles or go around them if they think there's something to be seen. So we need to start further off up there, really. Got so many young hollies that I can pull up and move that if not all of them take, it doesn't really matter. I can just keep that process going until enough have taken that it forms that barrier. So I'm going to get the rest of these little baby hollies put in, and then I'm going to go eat my dinner because it should be ready soon. So I'll get right. So that's a load of young hollies planted. Look at these bad boys. I think it's going to be the last usage for this particular bushcraft grill. Chicken's doing good. Get some adobo and a drink of water. Yeah, progressed quite good actually. I figure if I just transplant 5 or 6 hollies every time I come here, before spring and summer they'll be pretty much armoured up the pathways, because nobody's really going to come here through winter. They never really do. Dog walkers, but they stay on the trails, they don't really snoop about too much. I mean, the dogs do, but the people, they don't really bother. Except for, like I say, occasional nosy campers and stuff, but I haven't seen much evidence of that this year, so we live in hope. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Oh yes, look at that. If I had it my way, my entire diet would be exclusively meat, exclusively in the woods. Chicken's going to want a bit longer. Hot. Adobo, gorgeous stuff. If you do get hold of some adobo, don't be afraid of chucking some pepper in it. It needs a bit of pepper in it. It's too hot. Like I say, towel in the woods is your best friend. I mean, I suppose you could use the axe. Can't clean your fingers with an axe, but always carry an old towel. Always. I mean, I found a new use for it today. Lifting logs. There's a little known fact that that's how the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. Those really big blocks, they're actually dead easy move if you wrap a towel around them. It only takes 2 blokes per time. That's right, I'm in the stage of the video where I'm talking nonsense. I don't know if I trust that chicken yet. Might need a little bit longer. Might have a look at it. I'll have a drink. I'll have a drink and I'll look about them. Then we'll check the chicken. I'm going to save that rock up now. There's very few rocks around here, so I wanted to incorporate any rocks into the build, I'm going to need them. So, it sounds weird to say there's very few rocks around here, but where do you ever go where there's few rocks? But there is. And interestingly, like Leek, the town where I live, it is on a big clay bed. Anybody from around here knows that. It used to be an ocean a couple of 100,000 years or whatever. So there's a big clay bed underneath us, or a lake, whatever it was. And it is, I've always known that in my garden at home, if I dig a little way down, clay. But you're looking probably about a foot down, 1.5 foot, maybe 2 at most, where I am, here in these woods. And considering it's all up and down, it's all hills and things here, if you go down more than about 6 inches through this PT layer on top, instant clay. So I'm sure at some point in the future we'll work with that. Whew, smoke in the eye. No way. All the burger fat has ran down my cooking grill and made me a little fat splat on a leaf. That don't look right, does it? Yeah, pure burger fat. No, I didn't like that before everybody says. That'll go nice in the fire. Yeah, well, I was right to give the chicken a bit longer, and it is now perfectly cooked. Oh, but very hot. And slightly burning me through the towel. Look at that. Oh, very nice. Wow, that's hot. It wouldn't be a Bosun Dan video if you didn't see me stuffing my face with it. This will be the point where people watching will be running off to the kitchen and raiding the fridge. Yeah, obviously we can only get so much done today, unfortunately. I've got a feeling this is going to be stretched over many, many videos because we really do have his work cut out for us at this location. There's a lot of work to turn it into anything. It's worth doing. It's always worth doing. It's whether or not it gets found and messed with is the real question. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't be wanting particularly rotten logs, but for today's purposes, it kind of adds that extra layer of camo, doesn't it? Having all the rot and patterns and things growing on them. Makes it a little bit nicer for camo purposes. Pines are great for doing this because they've got all the branches poking out the sides, which makes it particularly good for locking them in together. It's quite useful for that. Nice big long one on top of there. We'll find that. There's a bit of life left in it yet. Well, it's life in it for what we need it for. Okay. How best to locate this chap? It's interesting, isn't it? All this rot, but the core is still solid. That's pine for you. That's what that resin does. Slows the rot down. Like I say, to an extent, I am choosing rotten ones because they look much more natural. Lovely. Good. Another stake and a bit more bank line, and that'll be that on. I can bang another log across there. I can find an ideal candidate, which I'm sure I will, because I'm not exactly struggling for downed trees around here. Right. Okay. Have to get this big boy's part of it. Left the axe over there. Back in a minute. I'm going to have to clean the top of that log off. Right, now this might be where I find I need an extra stake, because that is not super strong. I'm obviously going to have to stake it on the inside so I can tie it, but that is not super strong at the moment. Freya out my way a minute. Definitely another steak. Definitely want some good steak in it. Two actually, so I'll give you a rest for a minute whilst I go back on steak finding duty. And not the kind of steak I'd prefer neither, with that and all that. Clotted myself in that same old injury spot with the axe again. I don't know. Every time. There we go. A lot more solid now. It's bank line together. Over time that'll strengthen anyway as the ground hardens around it and they bed onto each other. It's pretty natural stuff. But as you can see, I've got a lot of walling to do around there as well. And over time, what I'm going to do is where we've got the spaces and stuff, I'm just going to start wandering around out there, collecting loads of bits of stick that have fallen off, pine boughs, and just layer them up on the outside. Because remember, this isn't to hide it whilst I'm inside and doing stuff in here. It's to make it look like it's not what it is from over there. Now, obviously, the big problem with that is a load of neatly arranged logs in a wall kind of looks like what it is, a load of neatly arranged logs in a wall, and it's very unlikely trees would stack themselves like that naturally, so I will have to hide that from the outside by covering it with things and whatnot, dead sticks and things, but it's a good start. I've got one more big log over there I've already cut that I am probably going to bring over in that corner down there because it just seems like a good place to do it over there. But the log I've got, I don't know, I'll have a look when I get it over here, and then once I've got that in, I'm probably just going to scatter some sticks and brush over the back of there already as a start, and then call it quits for today because I've already been here quite a long time and I've got some stuff to do. Well, yeah. There's a nice little baby oak tree there, and I'm wondering if I can get him out in one piece and put it somewhere else. I don't want to just hack it down. That's for another day. I won't worry about that right now. So I'll get on with what I was doing and get back to you. nearly squished my daughter's bench. She would not have liked that. That nicely broke some firewood for me. Lovely. Spiky. Mossy log. I was kind of thinking this could go here in this corner. We could lash it to that tree and then lean stuff up it from the outside. Although, in time, I won't really need to lean stuff up it because all this is conveniently growing. Well, it's going. It doesn't matter actually because I can do with the heavier end of this end anyway. This is where we really test the strength of bank line. Didn't move a bit. Well, testament to bank line. God, that is really, really solid. This stretchy black bank line really impresses me for just how strong it is. Couple wraps around. Make sure you've got some really good stretch on it. Keep the elastic in it. It is brilliant stuff. Although I must admit, it has some limitations. It's not great for tying tarps and bashes up because of the stretch factor. That's actually a hindrance. I don't know, maybe it'd be useful in windy situations, a bit of give in it, but generally this stuff isn't great for bashes because depending on what tarps you've got, I imagine. Obviously the military tarps I use are quite weighty, so a bit of stretch in it isn't always a plus point. There we go. That's solid, that. Oh, that's going nowhere. Alrighty then, folks. That is enough of a build for today, I think. We've got quite a bit done. We've got some walls up. It's a start. The problem is I'm working with obviously rather large materials because we have rather large trees, and I've repurposed a lot of them that are already down. I haven't actually dropped a tree today for any of this. This is all storm killed trees that are lying around anyway. But it's a start of location. I've not bothered building any shelters or anything today, and I probably won't do for quite a while, just because they're dead obvious. You see a shelter, it's obvious, isn't it? So they will probably be springtime. They'll probably be about springtime when stuff's really growing up. I've got a lot more holly replanting and stuff to do to hide the spot before I get to that anyway. But a good effort has been made today. Just give you a little tour of it in a sense. La-di-da. What's left of the fire. Wall. I had hoped to get a lot more done today, but you know, time is as time is. And obviously when you're moving things like this around on your Todd, it's going to take some time. So that is pretty much all there is today from me. The next video may not actually be me working away on this spot. It might be something different altogether. Anybody who's watching this channel knows you never quite know what you're going to get. Obviously there will be more videos incoming of workings going on here, but it might not be the very next one. that's for those of you who enjoyed it. But as always, folks, if you're not subscribed already, and there's a lot of people who aren't, because I get a lot more views than I do have subscribers, so if you're not subscribed already, please do consider it. No one's twisting your arm, mind you, but if you enjoy it and you like what's going on here, please do consider subscribing. Everybody bangs on about this all the time, I know, and I apologise for being one of those, but it does make a big difference. So tell your mum, your dad, your aunties, your cousins, write it down on the wall at work, or get your friends, twist their arms, tell them, make sure to... No. But consider it, guys, if you're not, because it does make a big difference to us, and it always gives us, you know, when we see somebody subscribed, you've made a bushcrafter smile, and that's always a nice thing. But other than that, folks, as always, get yourselves out there, get shelter building, get bushcrafting. If you're swinging axes around like I do, be safe, because picking up an injury this far out in the woods is going to be bad for anybody. Nobody wants to crawl home. Be safe, bushcraft, enjoy yourselves, and until the next one, I'll get back to you. That's all from Bosun Dan.